if you had a conversation
No, if it's
restaurant,
no,
all
if
of that
it's
is written
food
off.
that you took a client to or something business related, like if you went to a restaurant like for lunch and you discuss business, then you can write it off as an expense. If you just took your kid to McDonald's, you cannot write that off as a business expense. That's not how it works. If you go to the grocery store to buy your weekly groceries, you cannot write that off as a business expense. So, like I said, if I wasn't on the job, like out doing something for my business and I stopped at the supermarket to get gum, I am not saving that receipt because I can't return the gum anyway. So he just bought something small and insignificant. So my thing is, why did you keep the receipt and why do you have it like just readily available? Yeah, this is where I was. Look. If you weren't planning on being asked about that receipt, then more than likely that receipt would have been trashed. Unless
So
he's like you,
you say it
and
was
he
an
could provide.
alibi? It was like an alibi.
He
Oh
was
yeah,
using
because
it as an
I
alibi.
bought
Yeah,
some I bought some cupcakes at 2:37 p.m. Look, it says it right here. I was at this store. Is that what you're saying? Like, no.
exactly. Unless he's like you and he can prove that I just keep all my receipts. Look at those 100 bags over there. Those are just receipts for the past 10 years. Then I could see that. But he just happened to keep this receipt. Is kind of like,
Yeah, a little
and then
suspect.
he went to work at that time. So I don't know if he just went to work at that time or he left for something and then came back. But he was saying he went to work on that at that time, and when you go into the garage gives you like this time stamped ticket that you went into the garage. And he's like, how could I have been at work and then her business is 45 minutes away, and he's like, it doesn't add
Oh,
up.
yeah,
but
yeah.
but the thing that made the hairs on the back of my neck stand up is, y'all have to see how he was talking. Like, dude, there was no grief. And he was kind of like, it was kind of like funny to him. You know what I'm saying? Like he had a hint of humor in the stuff that he was saying. It was complete night and day between him and the son. The son was completely grief stricken. And then Rob was a complete dick.
Do you
Like,
remember
oh my
Silence of the
gosh.
Lambs? That's what it reminds me of. Just his
Yes.
whole countenance, like, oh
Hello.
my God.
Yeah, for real. Hello, Patrice.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what came to mind. I was like, oh my God, this man is crazy. Whew.
Dude, he
Yeah.
was crazy. And then they said, well, the son, Pistol, said, she was going to divorce him or whatever. So then the
Mhm.
producers were like, so what did you think about when Patrice was going to divorce you? And he's all like, oh, I divorce me? That's the first I've heard of that. She wasn't
Are
going
you
to divorce
still
me.
in this Silence of the Lamb character? Oh, voice. That's
He
really
was like,
funny.
he was like, she wasn't going to divorce me. This is the
Right.
first time I've heard of this. Oh my God.
They probably had a big fight about it that morning. But
But
no,
look,
no, I'm going to divorce you.
so he acted like he didn't know anything about that. And then Pistol was talking about like, yeah, my parents, they used to argue all the time. And he was like, we never argued. We had a wonderful relationship. That's what Rob was like.
I
He was
saw
like,
that
no, we
too.
had we
Yeah,
had a
that's
great relationship. We never argued, and all of this stuff. And it was like, what is wrong with you, dude?
like, how are we
We're just
speaking
supposed to
two
believe you. And
entirely
I'm
different
telling
words?
you, listeners, I'm telling you right now, you gotta, like, after this episode, if you haven't watched it, and even if you've watched it already, go back and rewatch it, and you'll see what we're talking about. This dude is a freaking psychopath, man. He is a narcissistic psychopath. Like, he only thought every answer he gave was if it pertained to him. If you
Yeah,
listen to
very
how he was
narcissistic.
talking,
Mhm.
every answer was only pertaining to him. That's it.
Yeah,
And then he like turned every, I don't even know how to explain to you, but he's not grief stricken. He had a freaking smile on his face, like a little smile all the time, and a
like a
little skip
smirkish
in his
smile.
step. Yeah,
Hmm.
like a little skip in his step while he was talking. It was like pissing me off, like seriously. So
Well, can
anyways,
I? Oh my gosh, can we talk about his strange behavior following the murder? What he actually did when it came to just making the decision between, cremation. What do we do with the bones? And how he handled that. Are you ready for the strange behavior?
well, well let me say this first. So first of all, he when they wait. Okay, so first of all, because you're also getting ahead because you're like cremation and what they did with the bones, but then everybody's like, well, last I heard, we didn't find her yet. So talk
No,
about when they
no,
found her.
actually, no. I still didn't understand how that was because I
You
don't
didn't
remember
remember,
them
you don't
finding any of
understand
that.
how they found her.
So,
Yeah, they found her. So, oh man, I am trying to remember. Um, so somehow, oh, I think some people were okay. So listeners, you're gonna have to correct me here because this is kind of murky. I think some people they were doing something. I think in a field.
they
They
thought
were
it was
doing
a deer
something.
at first. They
Yeah,
were
they
doing
were doing
something.
something in the field,
Yeah,
and
I
then
thought it was a deer.
they saw a bunch of buzzards. So you already
Yeah,
know, like buzzards, they eat dead stuff.
yeah,
So
it was fresh meat.
they they finished what they were doing. I think they were eating. They were eating. So they finished eating and they went out to see what was out there because like Shar said, they thought it was a deer, and then they saw a skull.
The skull. That I
So then they
remember. Hmm.
yeah, so then they called the cops, and the cops came out. They got the bones and everything, and they did forensics on it, whatever. And then they found out that it was in
Unfortunately.
fact Patrice.
Hmm.
So, they went. Now that I think this is horrible the way they handled it. They went and they told Pistol. They were like, hey, we found your mom. So he got happy. He was like, oh my gosh, I knew you would
Yeah,
find her.
yeah.
Oh my goodness, I'm so happy. And
He's thinking
then,
she's
like
alive.
like a bad comic who doesn't know how to drop their punchline, they were
Mhm.
like, yeah, she's dead. So I was like, oh, what's up?
Wow, thanks a lot. That's
You're right.
horrible.
So, and this was how long after she went missing, Shar? I don't remember.
When the see that exact date or time period, I really don't have that. I don't have that. I
Was
just
it
know that that was the.
13 years?
It was well, it was a while, a
Months?
long time. Um,
It was a while. It wasn't like it was the next
I
day. It
don't
was a
know. I don't
while.
know why I thought it was 700 days, but maybe that would only be like
600 days. It was
or
600 days on the dot.
600
That's what
days.
it was.
13
I'm so
years. I don't
happy you
think
said
so.
that.
Yeah, it
I'm
was
so happy you said that.
678 days or something. Yeah.
It was
Which is
600 days on
how
the
she was.
dot. That's what I
Yeah.
remember. So it was
Hmm.
600 days. That's when they found her.
Hmm.
And so they told the son that, and they picked up his spirits only to do the Irish jig all over it. But um,
But did they? How
so
did they
the way
explain that they only found her skull at that point? Why? How did they
No,
explain that?
they found her body. They found most of her. I guess
Okay.
where the guys were, they found her skull at first, but in
Yeah,
canvas
at
in the
first,
area, they
right.
found
Mhm.
most of her. They
Right.
found
Okay.
most of her bones. What they were missing was they didn't find her diamond ring, her wedding ring, which was
That's
a
true.
1 carat pear shaped diamond ring or something like that. They
Hmm.
never found that,
And that. Hmm.
and they were saying the way where she was, it was so far from her business that it was too much for somebody to just drag her out into the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, it didn't really make
And they
sense.
they had canvassed this area, and she wasn't there before that. And the fact that the buzzards were just now picking at the
Like it's
bones.
fresh. Like this has just been brought here.
Right.
I think someone moved
So
their body and brought her back over there. I don't know why, but I think that's what happened.
right. So it's so many questions like, okay, where was she before?
Hmm.
The second
And all of
question
that
is
time. Yeah.
The second question is, it's been 600 days. How are the buzzards picking at anything at this point in time? So did she not
Oh, maybe she was
die?
hidden for years.
Yeah,
You know.
did somebody
Okay.
have her hold away and then they
Yeah.
killed her?
Right. Okay. That's
You
yes.
know,
Good
and
point.
then they had to have done that obviously after the search and everything like that, because
Mm-hmm.
they had searched this place for days and days, probably months. They had searched that area, and there was nothing there. So there's just really so many questions, and they just it was just up in the air. They have no freaking clue. But let me tell you,
That's so scary.
Rob's behavior. um he was just like, in the interview, he was just like, well, was she just somebody's toy? But I don't do it justice the way I say it. Y'all have to watch the show to see how he says it. Like, he said it with like a little laugh, like, was she just somebody's toy? Like, I mean, if I said that about, if somebody that I knew went missing that
Loved
I cared about, I wouldn't be
one.
laughing about that.
No,
I know some people are going to be like, well, Kai, people grieve a bullshit. No, that was not
that's
grief.
not grieving. That's
No. Like,
something
okay, so
something
like the
very
woman in
sensitive.
like the woman in the story, the Australian story, like the dingo ate my baby. People are like, "Oh, she's so cold," but I believe she grieved in a certain way, which was not what people liked. Which she wasn't
Mhm.
screaming and crying; she was just matter of fact. So me, I believe her story, but this guy, no, It was just so many things that were not okay with him. So anyways, he asked, he was like, was she somebody's toy, or like did somebody just like take a wheelbarrow and just haul her away? Like, this is like how he's talking. Um, you know, I he didn't even care. He didn't even care. So, um, now I'm going to say this, and then you can pick it up from there. So now that they have almost all her bones, Rob then turned around and asked the police, like, "Hey, can you, like, reassemble all her bones for me, like, to
Right.
make it look like like a skeleton or whatever,
Can
like
you
a
piece her
person?
back together,
Yeah,
basically?
can you, like, yeah, can you put her back together for me?" So,
Mhm.
the cops are looking at him like, "Okay, weirdo.
I
Yeah, we'll
never
do
knew
it
they
for
would do
you."
that. That's such a request. That blew my mind. Did you
That's
know that,
probably why
Chloe? You can
they
make
were
a request
that's
for that?
probably why they were looking at him like, "Yeah, okay, bizarre man. We'll do it."
It's a
Okay.
puzzle. Okay.
Okay, so so Char's gonna take it away from there. So he asked the cops to reassemble her bones. And go ahead, Char.
Well, Kai, it's funny because this really connects to what you're saying. We're both sitting here like just our minds are blown over this particular part of the scene. So yeah, I'm just calling this section strange behavior. As Kai said, that's very strange. So basically, Rob insisted on sleeping with and carrying around the skull of his dead wife, Patrice. Hence our show title today, right? To death to death do we not part, the creepy skull. He also told authorities, like as Kai said, that he wanted all of her bones given back to him. But this is what he told them, though, Kai. He said that he wanted to cremate her remains, and then, but not in an urn, though. He didn't keep them in an urn. I get it if you wanted to cremate the remains. I get it, but you don't cremate someone, your loved one, and put them in a simple cardboard box and keep it in your bedroom closet. And then he confessed, and I don't know, I'm thinking you probably saw this part. He confessed that there was nights that he curled up and slept with her ashes, with the ashes of his dead wife, like a teddy bear. And then also they said that he actually made the statement that he absolutely would not give. Oh my God, this is sad. Did you read the part about how he absolutely would not give her son Pistol even a sprinkle of the ashes to remember his mother, Kai? Just to remember her by. It was rumored
Yeah,
anyway that he had begged, Pistol had begged for the ashes, and Rob really told him, "No, it belongs to me. Your mother
yeah.
belongs to me."
No, it wasn't a rumor. That's what happened. But no, you got some stuff wrong though. So what happened was at the oh man, what do you call that place where before you bury people, so they're in
At
the
the funeral
casket there?
home? Funeral home?
That's not the word I was looking for, but yeah, the funeral
Um,
home. So her bones are all together, and he asked the funeral home director for some time alone. So the guy left him in the room alone, and he recounts that he was talking to her as if she was still there. Excuse me, he was talking to her as if she was still there. So he decided to spend time with her at the funeral home. And then he took her skull and he carried her skull around the room for a while, just talking to her, whatever, whatever, whatever. And then he put her skull back on the rest of her skeleton. And then he kissed the skull. And
um,
then,
wow, we do
and
have different
then,
accounts. Okay. Okay.
and then he got it cremated, and he asked for the ashes. And when they sent the ashes, like you said, he didn't want it put in an urn. He just had it in a box, but the box was like, it wasn't a simple like brown box. It was like a blue box or something like that.
Did
Like it
they
was a blue
actually
box with
show
like,
that on in your story? Because they in two of my accounts they said it was a cardboard, just a cardboard box in his bedroom closet. He
it
just
was
put
a
it inside.
cardboard box. So
Okay.
he had it in a cardboard box, but it was another box